Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, and I'm in North Dallas, pet sitting for Thanksgiving at my daughter's house. In my robe and pajamas, I had to put on a hat because I had total hat hair this morning when Mandy Haynes woke me up because we're all excited, everybody. I'm going to bring us both onto view. Here we go. I want to introduce to you the new co-host for our Slumber Party Zoomathon Girlfriend Weekend, author Mandy Haynes. Yay! And Mandy's got on her pajamas too.
They're so comfortable.
And as you can see in the background, her two books, Walking the Wrong Way Home, which was a Pulpwood Queen Book Club selection last year. And then coming up is her new book that we're going to be talking about first before we talk about Girlfriend Weekend. But the reason why Mandy is coming on as my co-host, Revis Wortham has been my co-host for years, but for some reason, I just felt a little uncomfortable having a gentleman be my co-host for a slumber party. So Mandy had come forward and she said, if you ever need any help doing anything, I'm putting your event together. And I go, well, you know what? I could use a co-host, and you're just so darling. You have this beautiful way of talking, this Nashville sound, this Tennessean voice, and I just think it's just going to be so fun. So first of all, Mandy, just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your background and where you're living now.
Well, I am living on an island, which is just like, that was, it sounds like a fairy tale, but it's true. I left Nashville 3 years ago. I quit my job. I'd worked in the medical field for a long time, and I'd been writing, but not, giving my writing the attention it needed. So 3 years ago, I quit my job, sold my house, gave everything away, and jumped in my van with my dogs and ended up in Florida. And in 3 years, I've bought a house that it's called The Shipwreck, and then published 2 collections of short stories. So I have no regrets. It's been great.
Well, Mandy is a wonderful new voice for the Pulpwood Queens. We've been going 20 years. We'll be going into our 25th anniversary. But what the Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys International Book Club is known for is discovering first-time, first-book authors. Voices and stories told from a perspective that we haven't heard, that are very authentic, very well written, and Mandy fits the ticket on every one of my boxes. So I've checked them all off. So I'm very happy to share this wonderful new author with you because it's all about change. And right now we are literally going from a cocoon, hopefully, to a butterfly because I never in the world dreamed that I would ever have enough technological skills to pull off a virtual Zoomathon slumber party online book club convention. But everybody, the authors, have really rallied around, and my blogging friends, and said, Kathy, if you do this, we're all on board. So I'm going to talk a little bit about who's on board. Mandy has so many skill sets that I do not have. First of all, she's really, if I'd had you at 14, I could be your mama. So, you're younger and you've got a lot of energy, and I'm really excited that you're on board. But you have been doing some graphics for us, and you've been helping reach out to my authors. So, because what we're doing is we're trying to get all our authors that are going to be featured and our special guests to send us not only their book covers and their author professional photos, but to send us a selfie of them in their jammies. So I can't thank you enough for that. And Mandy, I know you're new to the Pulpwood Queens, but what do you think so far? You haven't even been to a girlfriend weekend, and yet you're going to host one. Is that not cool?
Well, it is so cool, and life is so funny. When I offered to help, because I thought, how are you going to do this all by yourself? And I didn't know if you were, but it's a lot. And I thought, well, I could do graphics, and I could send emails for you if you needed. And when you asked me to co-host, I thought, I love meeting people. And, this year, it's been hard. You can't do it. Gosh, the pandemic, hurricanes, wildfire, this has just been like craziest year. So I was so excited when you asked me to co-host. And, I get to reach out to these new authors to me, and some of them aren't new. Some of them I've followed forever. So it's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun. And I know it's not the same as the parties that you've had, because the stories I've heard and the videos I've watched, you put on a heck of a show. But, this is the best you can do in a pandemic. So you're going to make it as much fun as you can.
Well, the one thing I've learned in my 20 years of running the Pulpwood Queens is, first of all, for those that don't know the story at all, I was a mom. I was working in a bookstore, and I got a job as a book publisher's rep, and I loved it. It was the dream job. I basically worked from my house except calling on bookstores in 4 states. And then something really awful happened, like today, life changes. And the big box chains started coming in. They started closing all the independent bookstores in my 4-state area: Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas. And since I was the last one hired, I was downsized. And this was my dream job. I love to talk to people. I love to talk books. I like to go. I am a travel nut. I would, my goal is to see every place in the world before I go to meet my maker. So I started this book club with opening a hair salon bookstore, because I put myself through college. Took me 43 years, 7 universities, but I put myself through college doing hair because I am an art major. I have my BFA in fine arts and minor in art history. And I saw doing hair was an art. And you're an artist too, Mandy. And so we have so many connections. And the one thing I want to tell everybody, that the one thing I've learned during the COVID pandemic is that I've been listening. And I've been paying really attention to people that are put in my path. So when you stepped in front of me, as I'm going down this book reading life journey, I said, this young woman wants to help me. I'm going to let her. And I really feel like people are put in your path that are meant to be. They may not meant to be put there forever, but there is a reason and a purpose, and we'll find out later on, when we do meet our maker, what that reason and purpose was. But we take our gifts and talents, and one of the things that Mandy has is she's an artist. So tell us a little bit about your art, Mandy, because you do a lot of things.
I do a lot of things. My favorite new thing is felting. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with felt, but I like wet felting and felting, which is another wet, where you add like silks and different stuff in there. And how you said that, people are put in your path and you meet people. There's a great studio here, and these women, they're just some really fun, talented artists. I was looking for a place to record my audiobooks. I needed a quiet space because I got my 3 dogs and it gets a little nuts here. And I had also talked to them about my jewelry and stuff a year ago. Well, they saw my felt and saw that I was looking for a place to record audiobooks. They're moving into a new spot, and they asked me if I wanted to join them. So I like to barter stuff, like how I said, I can offer to do graphics for you. I'll offer to do graphics for them in exchange for that little space to record my books. And then now they're like, oh, well, we want your felt too. And it's just, life is fun. I mean, it can be hard and there's a lot of stuff, but if you just pay attention, there's all kinds of good things out there.
Well, I'm really excited about that. But you also, when you moved to this island, you got offered a job writing. So tell us a little bit about your new addition to all of the other things that you're doing.
it's yeah. So I'm a freelance writer for the Amelia Islander magazine, which is, that just another fun surprise. And to be writing, like when I first came here, there was a storytelling event that they were having that I went to. Like I had just come here. I wasn't sure if I was going to stay here. I didn't know really what I was doing. But I met that group of talented storytellers, and I did some of that in Nashville. So they were having another one, and I submitted a story. And so I've done 2 storytelling events, Live Ink Theater. Before the pandemic, that was putting together a show of my of Walking the Wrong Way Home. So some of the storytellers that I, was like in awe of, they were going to read out stories from the book. It's just how it just picked up. And then the freelance job, it's just been a lot of fun. And I've met so many people. I've pitched a couple of ideas, and they picked up a couple of my ideas, which was fun. So that was an additional writing project for the magazine. But what I have a monthly thing is good, and it's they picked 2 businesses that have sponsorship. They're advertising in the magazine, and then it's like a behind the scenes. So it's not really the business; it's the people behind the business. And I've met so many interesting people doing that. So just love it.
I've too have done a lot of magazine writing. I wrote for Charm Magazine, East Texas People Magazine. And you go out and interview people and you hear their stories. In fact, one of my very, very best friends came to do a story on me for East Texas Magazine, Tamara Bolton. And we just hit it off. We're both big coffee drinkers. We both like to go. She's traveled all over for her writing. And the interesting thing is now I'm publishing her book, her next book with Lucid House Publishing, called The Art of Story Keeping, which is going to be amazing. So this is her 3rd book. And now and she just came for coffee to interview me for a magazine, and see the connections we make through having a cup of coffee, sharing a conversation, getting together on Zoom for this. We learn more about our stories and all of our author stories when we get together. So even though we're in this COVID virus pandemic, social distancing, we are able to connect. So we invite all the international Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation on board. We've got our authors. I mean, they sign on for everything I do. Whether it's my Pulpwood Queen Film Club or my online book club. So we're just trying to get everybody on the same page, because the more that we join, the more that we become more kind, have more empathy, and share our lives. We may not always agree with each other, but it's my biggest mission this 2021 year is that instead of us really arguing or fighting or becoming so staunch in our own convictions of what we believe, that we start accepting other people for believing differently than us. I've always been an advocate for people from other countries and other religions and other cultures. I have been involved in picking global and diverse books for years, but now we're really going to target showing that we are an international book club we've got 12 books of the year that we always read, and we always have bonus books because those are the authors that all decide that they want to come to our weekend. But this year I am starting, first time ever, 12 international reads, because I just have 2 brand new members from Canada, British Columbia, and we're going to read 12 books from other countries. And I don't have his book in front of me with me this trip, but I did bring King Khan's book. Shah Rukh Khan is actually, he's become my hero, because this is a man who's one of the largest film actor, beloved, people in the film industry, especially in India, but he has gone way beyond with all of his followings. And the more I read about him, the more I'm fascinated with how this Muslim man who lives in a Hindi country, India, who's married to a Hindi wife, who works very hard on creating bridges than burning bridges. And we're going to be reading his book, Shah Rukh Khan and King of Bollywood, The Seduction of India Cinema, because I fell in love with that. In fact, for Thanksgiving, I'm up here at my daughter's, and I'm going to the store today because I'm doing a Bollywood Thanksgiving, because I fell in love now with India cooking. And it all came about because author Jennifer Miller from Bellingham, Washington, gave a book on Indian cooking and Indian spices for one of our silent auctions. And I love it. It's just so wonderful. So I'm going to tell everybody today to mark your calendars for January 14th. And it looks like it's going to run through the 17th, which is Sunday, because I'm building this program. And Mandy and I are going to talk a little bit now about some of the things we're doing for our Zoomathon Slumber Party Girlfriend Weekend. First of all, we're encouraging everybody to come in their jammies. And that is the authors and special guests too. And they've actually embraced that. So if you go to our only page now, the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation, you can see the photo album, because I'm posting photos of the authors in their jammies with their books, also their book covers and their regular author photo. Mandy's up. And then we are going to all come on board and watch this all together. In fact, I have my my childhood friends coming from Kansas to stay with me and actually slumber party with me while I'm doing my slumber party. So I am just like living for the moment, because this is a dream come true, because living alone in isolation. I know you're living alone in your house in Amelia Island. I'm living in Holly Lake Ranch, Texas by myself. And I have 2 cats, and you have 3 dogs.
And a turtle.
And a turtle. Well, I have 2 cats, but I'm pet sitting my daughter's cat, Penelope. But my other daughter has dogs and a cat, so I pet sitted for them. I am the ultimate pet sitter, y'all. But what is ironic is, as I'm pet sitting my daughter's cat, my Pulpwood Queen and friend Barbara Dean is pet sitting my cats at Holly Lake Ranch. The kindness of your friends. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But I just want to share with you, I brought this book with me because I'm finishing it up. One of our authors that's coming on board is Betty Lee Crosby, okay? And her book is A Million Little Lies. It's a novel, and we feature men and women authors, nonfiction, fiction, poetry, biographies, historical fiction, fantasy. We feature the only thing I draw the line on is erotic. Y'all keep that to yourselves. That's not the Pulpwood Queens. We're a family book club. So some of the books that you know that I picked this year, what has been some of your favorite authors' books that you've read this year, Mandy?
Well, it's, I loved the Flying Cutter books.
Oh, yay! Kathleen Rogers' book. Yes, it's wonderful.
Well, and I just, strong women, like, and I mean, I'm not just, that's not my entire thing, but it has really been this year, I don't know, it's just, we needed some strong women in our lives, and the Flying Cutter books did that for me.
Well, interesting thing about Kathleen Rogers, for authors that are listening to this blog, is that she's been a book club member for a long time, and it takes me sometimes years to work them into my reading program, because only picking 12 books of a year, I got over 600 this year, and I look at all of them. I just got a whole bunch more right before I left that will have to go on to 2022. But the year before, for my 20th anniversary, I received over 1,000 books. So,
How do you do that?
well, I'm going to tell you, it's not as hard as you think, because if you go to my website, www.thepulpwoodqueens.com, and go to my book club page, you'll see my 2020 list. At the bottom, you will also see a submission guideline. Now, you do not have to become a book club member for me to read your book. I look at every book that comes my way. But by God, if you've paid to become a Pulpwood Queen and have been participating and coming to our girlfriend weekends, I know that you understand what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create this book reading community. So I put authors that join as author members to the top of the list. And I read them first. And no matter when they come in, they go to the stack of to be read first, and I read them in order. And some of the books that are coming now, my list is done. The book list will go up December 1st, and Mandy and I are going to do a live announcement of those books and be sharing them with you. I'm going to be holding them up, and we're going to be talking about what panels they're going to be on, and Mandy's going to help me with, her comments, and I'm going to be shipping her some of the books so she can read some of these books before it happens, but we're going to be doing that December 1st with a press release. Then shortly, as soon as I get all the authors confirmed and all the people that are coming on board, we're working together on the program. And I can already tell you the program's going to start on Thursday, January 14th, and run through Sunday, because I don't know why, but it's just exploded on how many people went on board for this virtual online one. People that normally couldn't probably come have signed up. We do comp all of our keynotes and our moderators, and of course Mandy's comp because she's my co-host, but the authors said we want to pay to help you through this time, Kathy. So everybody else is paying $199, which is our early bird special, and you have to be a member. And I want everybody to know that this is a business that I want to keep in the black. And right now, this is my only livelihood. So I have been working round the clock, and so is Mandy, helping me to get all the information out to all of you. So go to the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation for all our posts. Don't share anything or tag me on any of those other pages, because the Kathy L. Murphy is now just for my art and my personal sharing of all the beauty in the world. But the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation is our one-stop shop for everything Pulpwood Queen. Now today, Mandy, I'm recording this. So I have started several years ago the Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel. I will be downloading this, and we will have this up on the channel later today. We ask that you all go to this. I'll post the link after this is over. Go to that page, like it, share it, and subscribe. There's a little icon bell in the right-hand corner. If you click on that, every time I post a video, you'll get a notification, including myself. And this is just a way to get our authors and our videos and my story times out in a more global manner to the world, because YouTube literally goes everywhere. I'm also getting ready to convert my Zoom meetings to Zoom webinars, because now by doing webinars, it's gone global. And I've been doing a lot of radio programs that are going global, including Dr. Hashimi's iHeartRadio that was broadcast all over India, which is my #1 place that I want to go as soon as this pandemic and we can get the vaccine. And I've never met Mandy in person, but I feel like she's one of my own. So I want everybody to welcome her. When she sends you an email, know that she's doing this for me as a volunteer. Enough said. She is doing a great kindness. And by you sharing, by you buying the books, by you working with us because this is your book club. This is the author's book club. This is the Pulpwood Queens book club. And it's only as good as the community of readers and authors. So Mandy, what are your feelings on, I know you've heard a lot about Girlfriend Weekend. What is some of maybe the biggest questions you've had about what in the world goes on at that weekend, or, anything? Ask me.
Well, it's okay. What I just loved about it, and I couldn't wrap my head around because I've not seen it for myself, is how you have so many authors and so many readers. I am an author, but I'm new, and I'm such a fan of authors. I forget that I'm on that side. I still think about the being a reader, seeing this. When I've gone to different things, we've kind of talked about that before, like Southern Festival of Books, like if Rick Bragg was here in this building at 11 and, Ron Rash or, somebody else I wanted to see, you can't see them all. But for the Girlfriend Weekends, you can see everybody. I mean, you're right. It's like, I just can't even fathom what that's like for, to go.
If everybody gets a chance to read my 20th anniversary book, which is called The Pulpwood Queens Celebrate 20 Years. It was edited by Susan Cushman, and the afterword was written by Jonathan Hote, the executive director of the Pat Conroy Center. It's stories, essays, it's an anthology, it has poems. It talks about what happens when you join a book club, or some of them are fictionalized, some of them are just tales of them coming to Girlfriend Weekend. But what happens is something magical. What I have learned about myself during the COVID virus is that I oftentimes don't live in the real world. I have created my own imaginary world of what I want the world to be. And it's through a lifetime of reading fairy tales and classics and stories, but it's a world that I'm happy in. And so I want everybody to come and join me in this world that we've created, because it's a wonderful world. It's the wonderful world of the Pulpwood Queens. Growing up a Disney kid, I grew up on the Pulpwood Queens, watching The Wonderful World of Disney every Sunday night at 6:30. My sisters and I just glued to the set. It was this fantasy of going and to a place that was just all about storytelling, because that's what Disney is. And when my youngest daughter got an internship to go to Disney World to be put together the packages for the international, I was just like, this is just a dream come true. So the first thing I did when she got out there is I went out to visit her. And then we went back to visit her again with my grandson. I'm going to tell you, Walt Disney was a visionary. And so is Michael Igor, who is, with Disney. I look for those visionaries. I look for visionaries like new authors like you, Mandy Haynes, because we all are creating worlds, whether we're telling fictional short stories or fiction, or telling our stories through our memoirs. My books are my first book was on how books save me, and why it's so important to me that everybody get on the same page, reading all together. It changes people's lives for the better. And I also grew up kind of the anti-beauty queen, because I was the book nerd. I like to champion underdogs, people that are marginalized because maybe they don't fit that beauty queen picture. That's why we wear tiaras, or my crown today is my leopard beret. By wearing those, we're beautiful within because we're readers. And I think us as people, we're just a product of our parents' genes. We don't have any recourse in how we look, or how we're built, or how that's, to me, that's the way God made us. So why not celebrate the fact that we're here, we're alive in this world. We've lost so many, and I've got 15 friends with COVID now, right now.
Oh.
And it is heartbreaking. And I've got Pulpwood Queens that have lost their health and lost loved ones through this crisis. And it has made me realize how fleeting our moment on this planet is. So if we can read wonderful books about visionaries such as Shah Rukh, such as Michael Igor, such as Yuri Havari, who wrote The Brief History of Humankind in Homo Deus, which will be on my list. I've got stories from around the world written by people from other cultures, other religions. It's time to enter the 21st century, people. And I am one person who has joined with Mandy Haynes to show you that we all, if we join hands together, we can change the world, one author, one book at a time.
I love that.
So I am so excited about Girlfriend Weekend, and I want to give you, what is the thing you're most looking forward to, Mandy, of attending this event? I hate to put you on the spot, but I have to have goals for myself to get excited, or it gets depressing being alone. What is the one thing about it that you're excited about?
Hearing from all the authors that I have followed on social media, but I don't really know them, like I've never really met them. Well, it's going to be fun because you'll feel like you get to meet them. So I'm excited about that. There's a bunch of them. I've got a list. That's what I'm looking most forward to. And then I just love story. I love I can't wait to hear everybody's stories. I think that's it.
Well, this weekend was kind of an epic fail. I learned a lot of my things through failures. I constantly am putting out things to try to connect people, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work. And Saturday was an epic fail because I thought my computer crashed, but it was my internet was down. And so I had set on my schedule, one of our authors, I'm so excited to share this with everybody. One of our authors who came for the first time to Girlfriend Weekend last year was Johnny Bernhardt. And she has a new book, Sisters of the Undertow, and she was invited to do a TED Talk. Be still my heart, because TED Talks and interviews on YouTube through visionaries have gotten me through, and India Cinema have gotten me through the COVID virus. So there was no way I was going to miss this event. And it was a TED Talk for women, fierce, strong women. So I wanted to hear all of them, and my internet went down. I listened to every single one of those on my phone. and also being on my phone, I had to use my readers, because if you see me do misspellings, it's not because I'm totally illiterate. It's because I don't have my readers on and I'm typing so fast I make mistakes. Sometimes they're pretty hilarious, some of the things that comes out. But I watched all 26 of them, and Johnny, hers was the human story. Okay. I know that I got the idea. I always end my blogs and everything with, it's all about the story. I know I got this from Johnny, because Johnny's story in my book, The Pulpwood Queens Celebrate 20 Years, is all about the story. So I watched her thing. And so 2 of my authors now have gotten to be featured in TED Talks. The first one was my dear, dear friend, Julie Perkins Cantrell, and now Johnny Bernhardt. And so we're adding their speaking and TED Talks to our weekend. So I'm pretty excited about that. Also, I have a Pulpwood Queen author that hasn't been here in many, many years, because he's a pretty well-known playwright in New York. He came to me and he goes, "This is virtual? Online? Kathy, I'll do a writer's workshop for anybody who's, no matter their experience, who has ever wanted to write their story.
I'm excited about that too.
David Valdez, I'm the first to sign up because he's amazing. His plays are amazing. He's a wonderful, very accomplished individual. So from New York, he's going to be doing a writer's workshop. I'm really excited about that. Then yesterday, I had a wonderful talk with my agent, literary agent, Marley Rusoff of Marley Rusoff and Associates in New York City. Marley represents a lot of international authors, but she started out with Bantam. Well, she started out as a bookseller, and she started the Loft in Minneapolis, which is a wonderful, beautiful writers and authors not-for-profit. And then she went on to Bantam Doubleday Dell, and then studied under Nan Talese to become an agent, a literary agent. And she's at the top of her game. And she is going to be giving a talk. It's more than likely going to be an hour-and-a-half talk on the landscape from a literary agent's point of view on publishing today in New York City. If you're an author, you do not want to miss this, because Marley is a very busy woman. And she's right now working really hard on the board for the Pat Conroy Center to launch their newest acquisition, which is a new, bigger building for the Pat Conroy Literary Center, which is my charity of choice. So Jonathan Hote will be on board too, with his wonderful protege, who is a Beaufort High School student who's been interviewing authors, and they're going to be doing a program. And he's also going to run a new online author silent auction. So authors, I'm going to be, including you, Mandy, I'm going to be emailing you the address, but we donate, all the authors donate an autographed something that ties in to their book, and it's autographed. And we auction it off. We're going to do it online this year. And all the money goes to this wonderful, wonderful center, the Pat Conroy Literary Center in Beaufort, South Carolina. We've been doing this for years, and it's very important to me because Pat was, his book, and I'll cry about this, his book, The Lords of Discipline, changed my life, because I realized I was not alone with growing up in, my father was former military, Korean, two-time World War injured veteran. He ran our household like, you know, we were in the Army, which he was. And, you know, you mattress backs get out of bed every Saturday morning. It's time to mow the yard and pick up sticks and help me wash the cars. And, you know, I didn't appreciate him at the time. But later on in life, I realized that he gave me a work ethic and a inner strength that I wouldn't have had. And even though it was oftentimes scary as a child, I learned, you could even learn from those experiences, and I certainly learned from Pat Conroy. And I've told Jonathan to my dying day, I will do everything I can to help that center, because of how Pat and his wonderful wife, who is also a very accomplished author, Cassandra King, have supported me since the get-go, and I want to help them any way I can. So I'll be sending out the address of where you're sending, so everybody will know what I'm sending. When I was featured at the Pat Conroy Book Club convention, of which my Pulpwood Queens sponsored, I took a lot of pictures, and Jonathan took me around from everything to where Pat went to high school, where Pat was buried, to all these wonderful places that had connections to the Pat Conroy story. I painted a gigantic painting of what I saw. And that painting is being shipped next week to the center. It's called Aquamarine Dreams. And it's the view of what I saw when I was in Beaufort, which is one of the most beautiful places to be in the world. So that, I encourage all authors to donate something that is personal, autograph it, and send it to the Pat Conroy Center. And Jonathan told me that I could go ahead and send the painting, and I'm going to go ahead and put that out probably before the 1st. So you can get those to him before the holiday rush. And then I just want to share with you the bloggers. I have some amazing bloggers like Annie McDonald, the Right Review. She has the Right Review Book Club in New York City. I partner with Annie. Annie has put together a whole panel of authors, and she won't be able to travel herself or be on because she's got some health issues, but she's got a moderator for her panel that has wonderful authors. Susan Peterson from San Antonio, Texas. She runs Sue's Reading Neighborhood. She is going to be having a wonderful panel of authors. I'm so excited about my fellow Texan and all she does to promote books. I've also got on board Eileen Sanchez of Prose and Pandemic, who's bringing on a bunch of authors. And I'm actually working with some more. So stay tuned. They're all being posted on Facebook, and I'm very excited about it. And we're going to have some contests. We're going to have a best themed pajama contest for individuals and groups. And I'll be having some really fantastic prizes for all those that I'll be mailing out later. And for everybody that signs up for our $199 early bird special, will go up to $299 January 1st, but only for this month. You will get a copy of our February International Book Pick, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Jay is one of my favorite international podcasters. I just signed up to attend his a workshop on becoming a coach, a life coach with Jay Shetty. That is my ultimate goal and plan, because this man is paying it forward globally. He is also from India. He was a monk, and he is precious to me. I read his blogs and posts every day, and you have to read the story. It will make you a better person by doing so. So let me give you a copy by coming to our virtual event. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. I just got an email from another author who I'm really excited about that is coming on board. And I just posted an update this morning because I added Rebecca Rosenberg, who is one of the administrators for our Breathless Bubbles and Books daily blog that we do, and she does our covers and she helps me with the recipes. She's got a new book coming out called Champagne Widows. She writes historical fiction. She's fantastic. And you know, every single one of these authors, Mandy and I are going to come back on December 1st, and we're going to go through the entire list for a Zoom webinar, because by then it's going to be a webinar that you'll be able to listen to all of our books. They're all going to be posted up on my website, and they're going to be posted up on my shopping cart, which is benefiting independent bookstores everywhere, because the Pulpwood Queens pay it forward. Support your independence. The website, and I'll send you links to this, it's up on my website, www.bookshop.org shop/the Pulpwood Queens Bookshop. All of my 2020 books are up. Some of my 2021 teaser books are up, like Spellbound Under the Spanish Moss, which is my first lead book for January. And it's also written by two of my dearest friends, Connor and Kevin Garrett, father-son. And for those that don't know, I am now the new acquisitions director for Lucid House Publishing. And right now we have 9 books coming up for 2021. I am so proud of these books, and I'm, again, not only helping authors get their books read, now I'm helping, I think, the best authors in the world get their books published. And this is exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. So if you go to Lucid House Publishing on the web, and you can read all about this writer-centric bespoke publishing house, where 90% of the profits goes to the talent, the authors. 10% goes back to the publishing house.
Wow.
So Yeah, I'm very excited. And it's a very global and very diverse list of books, and they will all be on our list too. So Mandy, I know that we're getting into our hour of chat about everything that we're going to be doing. So if Mandy sends you an email, pay attention, because she is my right hand riding shotgun with the Pulpwood Queen, my Tiajuana. She has stepped in to volunteer to help me, and this is a gift for all of us, not just me, but all of you, because to have somebody give their valuable time away from their writing, their art, their, magazine writing, it's all about helping others. And she is the epitome of
Aw,
the Pulpwood Queen volunteer. So you are a Tiajuana.
just love that.
I love
And
you,
if anybody has any questions, just reach out to me. It's a lot where if you can find me on Facebook, but my email, if you just any questions and you don't want to bother Kathy because she's so busy. I mean, I don't, no bother. My email is mandy@mandyhaynes.com. Easy.
And be sure and spell Haynes, Haynes, because I spelled it wrong for the first.
Everybody does.
Well, you won't believe how many people misspell Kathy Murphy, or they leave out the L. And the L is so important because there's like 50 million Kathy Murphys in this world. In fact, there is a superintendent of a school I get her alerts all the time because she's Kathy Murphy. And when I was even in college, I would always get this physics majors. My advisor would pull up my transcript, and it was straight A physics and mathematics, and I was going, I'll take it. That's my shortcoming. I'm terrible at algebra. I can do math. My mind will not wrap around algebra. I made my way through college algebra on a wing and a prayer, but that's not my long suit, people. So
math, and any math, numbers are like, I'm not.
I can do basic math, multiplication, division, percentage, but addition, subtraction. But, you get into that A plus B equals C. I just, I've had so many tutors through the years, and I had a wonderful 27-year-old algebra teacher when I went to Texas A&M in Texarkana, Texas, or was it Arkansas? Anyway, I went up there for 2 semesters, and I got through, and I was pregnant at the time with Lainey. So that was 30 years ago. So I will tell you that I've never used algebra in my life, but it has hurt me because I was a geology major too, and you use a lot of algebra and formulas in chemistry and different things, and struggle.
Wow.
So everybody,
You just have such an interesting story. Like I've heard a bunch, I've read a bunch. Like I bought your books. Like as soon as like I said, I'm embarrassed to say how late to the game for the Pulpwood Queens I am. I actually wrote a story years ago, and one of the characters had a beauty shop and had she didn't, it wasn't a bookstore, but she had a library, like a leave one take one library, and it turned into a place
for years.
And so I get chill bumps.
I want that story. Let's publish it.
Well, it was a friend of mine, an idea for a novel that she had. This has been a long time ago, and she couldn't write it. She tried, and I've never written somebody else's story, but I love her, and her story was great, and so she gave it to me, and I tried to stick with what I knew what she wanted.
I know what we can do. You can write the introduction to my next book. The Pulpwood Queen Goes Back to School, and you can tell that story, because the next book I'm working on is all about that story of a young woman, a 27-year-old woman who opens a hair salon that has a library in it. And I've been working on it for decades. And
It just gives me chill bumps, like all the way up my neck.
I will invite you to write the introduction and tell that story, because I think people need to know that the best stories don't always come from the biggest places, like New York City or Los Angeles or Chicago or, an international city. The best stories to me come from that very small place, like Eureka, Kansas, where we didn't have a bookstore. We had a newsstand that sold newspapers, and in the back they sold the Playboy magazines. We had the Rexall drugstore that sold comic books, which I bought tons of Millie the Model and Archie and Veronica, and I love those. Were my favorite ones in junior high. And we had the grocery store that sold little westerns, Louis L'Amar's, but we didn't have a bookstore. But we had the Eureka Carnegie Library, and that was my refuge. I would ride my little Schwinn bike down there every 2 weeks to get my new books. Oh, let's see. Did I see a puppy?
She was snoring on my lap the whole time.
I have Penelope. Penelope's still in bed. Oh, you look like my little dog, Snicky. Is that part Jack Russell?
She's a Jack Russell. She's my possum. She's the one that attacked the possum yesterday morning.
Oh, they're fierce when anybody comes into their territory. They become very territorial. But my children had a dog that was a Jack Russell named Snicklefritz. And then when I was a child, I had a dog. It was mostly my sister's dog, Karen, because it loved her the best. But it was named Snicklefritz. Looks just like that. And they're good dogs.
I love her. And her brother's whining, though, because she was on my lap. That's
why I put her down. Gosh. But I've always been, the cats always love the dogs always love my sister the best. So I became a cat person because I'm kind of like a cat. I'm very social except when I don't want to be.
Yeah.
And I like my alone time. And the cats and I have this relationship like, yeah, you can pet me now, but leave me alone now. And I'm the same way. I have to, in order for me to have my people time, I've got to have my downtime of just being quiet. So I've learned a lot about myself this time of social distancing, but animals are a big part of my life, as are children. My grandson's going to be here on Friday, and I've already got him I got this. He's a boy. Look at this. Can you see this?
That's perfect.
It's so Pulpwood. And I got him I don't know if you can see this, but I got him a little cleaning set to help his mom. It's a brush and mop and broom, and he loves to clean. And I go, I'm all about balance, Men and women need to help each other. So this boy is going to grow up knowing how to, he's going to be a total package. He's going to make a great husband because he's going to be a well-balanced man. So, but I do think those pajamas are pretty cute. But anyway, for everybody who's on here, introducing the wonderful Mandy Haynes. And we are going to be seeing a lot of us because we're going to be doing more of these, but the next one will be December 1st when we make our announcement. I'll be doing the press release first thing in the morning. And then as soon as I post it, we will be setting up that Zoom meeting. So I hope everybody will join us. If you can't, go to YouTube and click on Kathy L. Murphy channel, because I've got over 40 videos up, and this will be our latest one, Mandy. So here we go all together, and you can start working on that introduction now because I'm working on the book.
I'm so excited.
I really think you're perfect now that I heard that story. You're such a great writer that anything that you take on you will champion. You are a born storyteller, and I hope everybody will check out both of your books. And the new one will be up on my 2021 list. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Welcome to the wonderful world of Mandy and Kat's Pulpwood Queen International Girlfriend Weekend Zoomathon Slumber Party. And we just hope that you'll all jump on board.
It's going to be a party.
Fun. Yeah, it's a party, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to be wearing all kinds of jammies. This is the one I have on today, but does yours have little dogs? I gotta
in my life is dogs.
I'm going to find a cat one. I've got to find one with little cats, because that's my nickname. It just makes sense, cats. So, and as you
dog lady.
I have my daughter shares my international vision. She has the North America behind her, and she has maps throughout her house of, we're global. My kids are global and diverse as I am, and they're big readers, and they'll be on board too. So thank you all for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Namaste. Happy Thanksgiving. And please, everybody, be kind. Even if you can't get together for Thanksgiving, just be thankful that we're here. We're here, we're present, and make your life one about reading. Thank you, Mandy. Any last words?
No, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, December 1st, everybody. It's all about the story. Bye, Mandy.
Bye.